Hi, everybody. Jill Allen here. I am so excited to be bringing another little episode of my mini series, and everything is Figureoutable in orthodontics. And today I'm going to talk about what do you do with auto payments and patients who are calling in and asking maybe for some help or actually even to have their payments put on hold. So we're going to talk about that. I've been getting a lot of questions from my clients about this, and I thought this would be just a good time to kind of talk about what are your financial protocols in a time like right now. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing that I want you thinking about, I know a lot of you have payments that were due maybe on the 1st or the 5th or the 5th and the 15th or the 5th and the 20th. I mean, there could be different due dates or just all throughout the month. And the thing that I want to encourage all of you who still have clients where you have AR on your books is it is important that you go ahead and continue to do your best to keep collecting. And so what that means is all of our previous financial protocols that we had in place, we want to just go ahead and continue to keep those in place. So if on the 5th you run your auto payments or on the 15th you run your auto payments, you should continue to do that. And, I've been following what OrthoBank, who is a big company out in our industry, and kind of what they're saying and what they're seeing with all of the data that they have through all of their clients. And, the biggest thing that they're seeing right now is that surprisingly not that many people are asking to have payments completely deferred, but they may be asking to have payments adjusted or maybe even moved to a different month. And so what I want you to do is go ahead and run your auto payments. And unless somebody has reached out to you to ask for something different than what they agreed to with their contract, I want you to go ahead and just run your auto payments like normal. Okay. And the reason I want you to really think about this and continue to do this is I want you to remember that, of course, you know this more than I do. You still have bills to pay. And that's one of the beautiful things about orthodontics is we are able to create contracts that allows us to collect over a period of time. And now more than ever, this has really been, I think, a blessing to a lot of practices, unlike some of our dental components where they produce and collect all in the same month. So we want to just go ahead and continue to keep our payments rolling. And the one thing I want you to remember is not everybody is out of a job. And I know that it seems like this is just a really hard time for everybody, especially for all of us in the industry. But remember, there are still a lot of people who have just pivoted and their jobs have moved them to where they're working from home. We still have teachers that are employed, and we still have, just a lot of industries that are still able to work, maybe not out in the mainstream, but are still working virtually from behind screens. So unless a patient is coming to you and asking for something different, I want you to go ahead and continue to keep things status quo. Another thing that I want you to do is just remember that if somebody is asking you to make arrangements, the first thing I would like you to do is go ahead and ask for them to go ahead and make a payment. Ask if you can take a less amount before you just go ahead and completely defer the payment. Now, if somebody has missed a payment or is unable to pay for the month, what I want you to do is, like, maybe you went and ran your credit cards or your ACH payments and something didn't go through. I want you to go ahead and follow up with your clients, just like our financial protocol would be, where we do a follow-up phone call, and let's just take their pulse and see where they're at. Again, many patients, they still want to work with you. They still want to be able to make payments to you, but it just may be that we need to find out where they're at financially. And then the other thing that I want you to do is, if you have a client that you've contacted and they've said, hey, Jill, I would love to be able to do this, but my husband is out of work, or we're financially not in a position where I can make payments for this month, I want you to go ahead and just see, number one, can they make any type of a payment? If they can, that's great. Collect that money and then just take the balance of that and roll that onto the end of their contract. Or if they just truly can't make their April payment or are telling you, I just need to defer April and May or whatever they're telling you, then I want you to go ahead and take that money and I want you to add it on to the end of their contract. So we're going to roll that money from current due and we're going to roll that onto the back end of their contract and set up 2 additional payments. And the reason I think that this is important is and there's a couple different camps out there, but this is what I, as the owner of Jill Allen and Associates, believe, is that we do not need to be increasing our past due money when really we've talked to the patient and we know why it's past due. So instead of leaving it sit there as all of this money that now we're going to go back and have to try and collect, let's just go ahead and move that out of our current due. Let's move that on to the end of their contract and add a couple more months of payments. And if you're a client of mine, you know that this is not such a big deal because what we're going to do at the end of our contract anyways, when we're getting close to our D bands, is we're going to sit down and do a little financial consultation with our patients anyways, remind them of how many patients or how many appointments they have left, what they have left set up on their auto payments, have them sign a new little mini contract, and we're set. So I don't feel like there's anything we need to be worrying about, especially right now with everything that's going on. The next thing that I want you to do is when we are rolling these missed payments back onto the end of the contract, make sure that the patient understands that although we are rolling the payments, we're helping them financially. It doesn't mean that we're extending out our treatment time. And I think doctors, this is really important. We're already on a hold with being able to physically move patients forward in treatment, but we also never want to hold our patients hostage and have financial and treatment time correlate. We allow patients to have a period of time to pay off their treatment, but it doesn't always correlate with how long a patient is going to be in treatment. And so I think that it's important that your patients still understand that you're going to continue to treat them, whether their payments may extend past when you're finished treating them, but they'll still be responsible for that financial arrangement. And then again, you can update that contract, have them sign that out virtually. If like I said, we usually do that towards the end of the contract. And then I think that if you don't already, now's the time you should be moving everybody to an auto pay or a credit card. I think this is just a great way to go ahead and keep those payments rolling in. Again, a lot of people can, maybe they were sending in checks and, number one, why do we want to be touching that money? But number two, why not just, transfer them right onto a credit card or ideally an ACH? We all know that, the charge for running an ACH is, 25 cents, where with a credit card, we could be paying a percentage of the money that we're spending. So use this time. If you are having contact with patients, if you are moving them around, make it be a little give and take. Let me help you. I will put you onto a delayed payment plan. I'm just going to ask that we go ahead and get an updated credit card or an updated bank account for drafting those ACH payments. The next thing that I want you to think about is if you have somebody in your office and you're still working, I think that it's still very important that we're working our delinquent accounts. Of course, we want to be working our delinquent accounts with our insurance companies because we know insurance companies are still working, and we know that now's the time to work through getting, any money that's past due owed to us. But the flip side of that is if we have patient accounts that are past due, we want to continue on just like as if COVID-19 wasn't happening right now. We want to be making our phone calls, sending out our letters. Maybe now's the time to go in and really look at all of that bad debt that you've had sitting on your books. And, if it's over 5 years and you're not going to be able to collect it, maybe it's just time to go ahead and get a clean start and get that bad debt off of your books. Obviously, this is a bigger conversation than this little webinar, but I always try and encourage my clients that we want to have clean books and we want to have clean AR. And clean AR is knowing that we can collect the money that we have. And if we've got old money on there from years and years and years ago that we're never going to collect, it just makes our accounts receivable look bigger, but our delinquencies are also maybe not in a healthy realm. And it just, it could be something that we're just never going to collect on. So we need to get that money off of our books and deal with it. The next thing that I think is important is we want to just make sure that we are keeping our books really clean, and we want to be taking this time to really have an understanding of what do our delinquencies look like and are they accurate to reality. So if for the month of April, let's say 10% of our patients called and said, hey, Jill, I'm not going to be able to make a payment this month, but I'm wondering if either I could make a small amount or if we could move my payment and I could pick up again next month. Again, I would ideally not like for you to keep that current money due and have that roll into a delinquency. I'd like you to take that money, put it onto your contract, and add another payment at the end so that the patient can get caught up, and hopefully, just keep on trucking as if, none of this unfortunately had ever happened. So again, we want our patients to feel confident in you, and we want your team and yourself, if you're a doctor who's out there having to do this on your own, I want you to feel confident in just knowing kind of what to do and how to move the money around. So the ultimate take home of this is if you have patients that are calling in and are asking for some type of a leniency on their payment, the first thing we want to do is ask them, is there any way they can make any type of a payment? So maybe it's 50% of their original payment, just something to help keep cash coming into your bank account. If they absolutely cannot, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give them a month of allowance, where we're going to take the payment that's due now, we're going to roll that onto the end of their contract, and then we'll deal with May when May gets here. And I would take it on a month-by-month basis versus just saying, hey, we're going to spread this out over the next 6 months. Let's just take it month by month, because we all don't know what's happening month by month, and move payments only as patients ask. So get it out of your past due, move it to the end of their contract, take it month by month, and take the time to ask for credit cards, take the time to ask for ACH payments, and just keep working your bookkeeping and going through your financial protocols as if it was business as usual. So again, thank you so much for letting me bring you this little snippet of information. Just like I've said before, we are here to help and happy to answer any questions. I know, especially with finances, and because I work with a lot of younger, smaller practices, I know that many of my doctors have been had to let employees go, and they're trying to go this alone. So just know we're here to help. And if you're not a client of mine and you just need some questions, you just need somebody to ask, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am here to help. Have a great day.